Week 6.
So you know what the mantra is today? Is
FSU.
We're gonna make some great coin today. We're putting it out to the universe. We're gonna make lots of money. We've had some bad beats last couple of weeks. The regression, as we like to say, is supposed to turn around the other way. So we look forward to doing that on this week's Week 6, the Fantasy Football Show. We got your picks, your props, your DFS, your bets, and you guessed it, your starts and sits. We got a lot to get on with overall. If you guys got questions, we'll definitely get to them as well. Feel free to drop them in the chat. We love the engagement. We love each and every one of you. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you're first time checking us out, feel free to like us on Twitter as well. Here are our tags. If you don't get your question answered for whatever reason, or if we don't get to you, whatever, like you always DM us as well for DFS purposes, for season-long purposes, whatever.
I'm just waiting on my first DM. I'm waiting on my first DM. I'm trying to blow up and be like nephew Nick Wilcox out here. You know what I mean?
Oh, whoa.
Although I did get a text today. I did get a start sit text, so I guess I'll get it where I can get it at, man. I'll get it where
Hold on. Don't ever call me a nephew ever again. Yo, hold on. The Chris Jericho ever again. All right, you're back.
Well, I thought, since I was the older one, I thought that's what it would be. I wasn't trying to little homie you know what I mean? So it's cool.
I mean, just call me your cousin, bro.
All right, cuz. All right, there we go. All right, it just happened. Man.
If you guys officially became family members.
That's it.
You haven't seen it yet.
Week 6, it happened. More positive energy in the universe to manifest. Big bank take little bank out here. Let's go.
With that being said, like I said, Week 6, we in the house. Again, you guys got questions, feel free to drop them. We're gonna get right to it, get right back to it. First game we got going on is the Bucks and the Saints. Bucks are a -3.5 on the road going into NOLA. The Saints are a game behind the Bucks in the NFC South Division. The over-under right now is a 42.5. From all things considered, Johnny, where are you seeing when it comes to when it comes to the game environment, when it comes to a DFS perspective, like where are you hedging or where are you taking things as far as you see them?
I think like if you're looking at DFS, for the DFS side of things, you're obviously looking at young Rattler today getting his first start. If you want to go cheap at the quarterback position, and I don't know if you got a chance to see this guy play. He played at Oklahoma for a little bit, and then he moved to South Carolina. Yeah, but he started off at Oklahoma. I'll definitely like to watch college football. Duke can throw it, man. Obviously this is gonna be his first start in the NFL. We don't know how it's gonna shake, but if you kind of go back and just kind of take a look, over the last year or two, some of these quarterbacks that come in that have had high potential and high promise, they've actually done okay. If you just kind of rewind back to last year with Will Levis when he made his first start for the Titans last year, had a big game. I got maybe one lineup. I'm playing 25 lineups today in DFS. And I've got him in one of them. I like Chris Olave. I think he came out earlier in the week and said that he's going to make it a point to get him the football. But then you also have the chalk of the slate as well, with Bucky Irving getting the start and going to get a lot of the workload. We were talking a little bit earlier. Every advanced analytic that you want to look at says that Bucky Irving is the guy, should be the guy, and should have a pretty good day today. And then I'm not so much big on Mike Evans for the Bucks. I'm really big with Chris Godwin. I like him. I don't have a lot, but I feel like this is a great spot for him for sure. Going against one of my former homies, Alante Taylor from UT. We used to kind of last year people were going to find him to get busy on him. So, and then also too, man, I think Cade Otton, I like him a lot this week at the tight end position. He's somebody that is going to make a lot of my lineups this week. So there's that, man. And then just from a game perspective, I think it's kind of hard not to take the Bucks just simply because the Saints are starting a rookie quarterback today. This is his first start, and he draws the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's where I'm at. I like the over on this game. Obviously, I think there could be some points put up here for sure. But this is a division game, disclaimer. So put that out there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Division games can always get a little funky. Over under 42.5, I guess sounds about right. We don't know what Rattler is just yet, but in terms of how, I think New Orleans definitely liked them coming out. We've seen them a couple times in college for sure. So it just has to be, 4K for a guy on DK, for a quarterback, like allows you to do a lot of things. If you believe this game could get any type of close, or if you think New Orleans can just again, like a super stack here would be Rattler, Kamara, and then Olave. If you want to get a little bit interesting on this slate, which we'll probably talk about throughout this whole show in terms of getting a little different. Olave 6,600 is a little bit pricey. But I think with the Rattler savings, I'm going to bring back with Baby Godwin. Makes a ton of sense when it comes from a stacking perspective. I'm not sure if I'll go there. But I think, Irving, everyone's and their mama right now is on Irving at 5,400. It gets a little bit more interesting. When you think Tampa Bay is going to be leading this game entirely. And I'm just not sure. I think New Orleans got to give some pushback a little bit in this game. I just think that the way Tampa Bay gets there, though, is Baker Mayfield just throwing the football just enough to where Bucky Irving gets some, but not completely probably breaks the slate at 5,400. It's totally possible, though, without Rachaad White, but then Tampa Bay could play some weird Sean Tucker, stuff like that. So I don't know. But in terms of this game, I probably like the Bucs overall. It's just getting 3.5 on the road is a little bit interesting, just on how the Bucs kind of let that game against Atlanta go last week on Thursday Night Football. And just, I don't know. So I'm taking the Bucs, but it's not with a lot of confidence per se. Even though against a rookie quarterback. Diego, what up, yo? What up, Diego? What you got for us, boss? He says Eckler or Chase Brown. Diego, tell us the format that you're using them in, whether it be standard, half PPR, full point PPR, for this week, and it will definitely answer the question. And then we got on Tam Music. Start one half PPR, take Dell or take Chase Brown. Well, a lot of Chase Brown questions already.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, we are here.
I take Dell questions already. But Diego said full point PPR for the Eckler or Chase Brown question. Let's answer that one first. Johnny, what do you say about that?
For me this week, man, I like Chase Brown going against the Giants. I think obviously we were talking a little bit. We won't spoil a seg on the Ravens game, but I like Chase Brown in this situation here. I think again, man, the Cincinnati Bengals are a desperate team, and you've seen the explosiveness last week with Chase Brown. I think it's going to be a continued theme. Austin Eckler is going to be getting a lot of the work for sure, but they've also been working Jeremy McNichols in the red zone. I'll go back and say this 3 weeks ago. Jeremy McNichols has got my money, man. He got my money. So give me my money.
He's 4,500 today on DraftKings. So it's I think if you want to get a little weird, get a little salary saver in there. It doesn't, I don't mind it. But in terms of the question, you like Eckler today?
I like Chase Brown, man. I like Chase Brown.
Currently questionable right now for the game. So it's you. All I say is have a backup plan.
Yeah,
have a backup plan. Yeah. I always say this. Make sure you if you're someone on the waiver wire that you're seeing that might not be, you pick him up later on, save a spot. Make sure
he's questionable, but he practiced on Friday, man. So I'm pretty sure everything I had seen was the expectation is that he would play. So, but you're right though. Have a backup plan in this situation, right? You have 2 games. You can get if you have Chase Brown, and you're kind of on the fence about that, Ray Davis might be still available in some leagues on the Monday night game, and James Cook, I know he's still probably going to play. Yeah, so, but even still, right, you have that to play just in case, because, sometimes when players come in and they're injured, they may not finish the game. So, yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'm with you on Chase Brown. I like the environment just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it's only because like we're not sure about Zach Moss. I think he was still questionable as well. But in terms of how I think Cincinnati just kind of views Chase Brown a little bit more like of all roundness, but it's according to head coach Zach Taylor of the Bengals, they're both are going to be good. They say Brown's quad injury is very minor. So that being said, I mean, look, Sunday Night Football game. I kind of like in certain formats. I like playing later players sometimes because then I know how many points I'll need from a certain player.
Yeah.
So in order for the matchup, and then obviously if things go your way, then it's like, all right, cool. Chase Brown should be in there. This should be a little bit more competitive game than people are probably going to realize because the Giants are playing some pretty decent football. So that being said, I mean, Eckler and McNichols splitting carries, Chase Brown and Zach Moss splitting carries. I don't know. I mean, this could really go either way, but I'll go with Chase Brown here. Just like you said, I'll just go there. The other question, half point PPR, we got Tank Dell or Chase Brown. I'll probably go Chase Brown again because the game environment. I know Tank Dell is going to get some more usage. Probably has a chance to score a decent touchdown as well against New England. New England's a little bit more middle of the pack when it comes to yards, pass yards allowed and receiving yards allowed. So they're like 18th or 20th or 19th in the league when it comes to that category. Houston, they play a little bit more weirder on the road sometimes. So I don't mind the Tank Dell bumping usage, but I'll pick Chase Brown here.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, you don't know if Tank Dell is going to get the Christian Gonzalez treatment today or what. And if he gets that Christian Gonzalez treatment, then obviously, it's going to be tough sledding for him. So I'm back on Chase Brown in this situation as well.
Yeah. And when I'm saying backup plan, I mean, look, like I'm sure there's still a couple players or two that you see on the waiver wire that may play later. But I mean, look, if there's not an answer for you, then just start Eckler. Sorry, if you had his question was Tank Dell, then start Tank Dell. But I always say if you have a later guy, you should always have something. There's always usually depending on their size league, unless you're playing like a 14, 16 team league, like 10 or a 12 team, there's usually a player out there later on that you could plug and play if something were to rise with injuries. But I always say just double check everything before the Sunday Night Football game because again, things get a little weird.
Wait a minute. There we go.
League.
Okay. All right.
Unless he played for the 14 team league.
All right. That's fair. We get a lot of 10s, man. We get a lot of 10s.
The safe option, start Tank Dell.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Okay.
14 team, there's not too many places to hide. So,
all right. No.
I would just say start Tank Dell then. But yeah, we appreciate you, Diego. Appreciate you. And thank you for so much for subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you. If there's any questions you got for us throughout the show, definitely let us know. But going back to the next game, we got Commanders in Baltimore. Basically a home game for both teams.
Yep.
Commanders getting 6.5 in Baltimore. Commanders playing very hot football right now. Like al fuego hot. So now the over-under is 51.5. Got George play here. Just on time. Well, my guys, when I don't start DJ Moore, he puts up 22. Now I start him, 0.7 points. Yeah. I mean, look, we called the Carolina revenge throwback spot. We called that. We called that.
Yeah, I got DJ Moore. Yeah.
We called that here.
Yeah.
The overseas is there's always weird things that happen overseas. Game's not over yet.
No.
So I'm not gonna put it past them that this game can't get more interesting. Komet double touchdowns, and I'm playing against Komet this week. So in one of my leagues. So that's fun. Real fun. Real fun. And then Mosey.
Monies. I'm gonna go monies.
Tank Dell, Pickens, or Wandell. Again, is it standard, half, full? Make sure you guys are putting the format so we can give you guys the accurate analysis. And then good, I'm playing DJ.
Look at that. That's a Nick Wilcox special right there.
Yeah, it is. good,
Oh,
good,
man.
good. I'm playing against him.
Oh,
um,
man.
but in terms of this game, no Brian Robinson Jr. for the Commanders, so it's going to be Eckler, it's going to be Nichols splitting the backfield here. Daniels, you got Lamar, you got Henry. It's a lot to like in this game in terms of season long and DFS perspective. But what do you say in terms of how you feel this game may conspire?
Um, I think this is really going to be a fun game. Obviously, I think this is pretty much everybody's game of the week right here, right? Like you have at this point the odds-on favorite to win Rookie of the Year right now. Jaden Daniels, the Commanders are a great story. Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP. Ravens are getting back on track. Derrick Henry's running over everybody and everything that moves. I think that number is pretty high for the Commanders, man. You think about it, 6.5 for sure. I think that number is a little bit high. From a DFS perspective, I do think this game obviously has the ability to put points up, like no question about it at all. A lot of dynamic players here in this game. The one thing that like I think about this game from a DFS side is like the clock's going to run, and it's going to be running when you have a team like Baltimore that wants to run the ball, and then the Commanders who are not going to be able to run the ball because, Brian Robinson is out. And Brian Robinson, man, has been a fantasy find this year. I think everybody knew, he was good, but, he was really and is really putting together a really great year from a fantasy perspective. In the passing game, he was getting usage. But for me, man, I look at this game and think, okay, the Baltimore Ravens, what's the best way to keep Jaden Daniels off the field? Age-old adage, run the football. Derrick Henry in a prime spot to be able to run the ball against the Commanders. Not exactly world beaters against the run this year. But for me, from a DFS side, I do love Terry McLaurin this week in this game. He's somebody that's finding his way into a large portion of my lineups for sure. The Ravens, I think you know what it is, man. It's Lamar and Derrick Henry. And then from there, man, I'm not in love with Austin Eckler or Jeremy McNichols. I do have a little bit of Jaden Daniels. Like I said, it's just a skinny stack with Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. They're actually coming in mad under owned, which I thought their ownership would be a little bit higher. I think Jaden Daniels is coming in right around 8%. Terry McLaurin, very similar on DraftKings. So yeah, give me the Commanders. I'll take the Commanders and the points. I ain't gonna mess with the over under, man, because it makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah, I mean, look, I got a couple of props here that I like in this game. First one is pretty clear what I like in this one. That's Daniels over 224 pass yards. Look, man, Baltimore is bleeding pass yards. They're bottom 10 when it comes to that category. And that's just where, again, I think Daniels is having too good of a year to surpass this mark pretty easily. So again, no Brian Robinson. So it's going to be run game is going to look a little different. We know the Ravens are really good against that. So this bet's based on, how Daniels has, unless the Ravens really get him out of his shoes in terms of completion percentage this week or whatever, I think he passes this mark pretty easily. You can go Terry McLaurin. I saw him at over 60 receiving yards as well. He just didn't make the short list. But it's because that's really his number one wide receiver targets. So I definitely like him as well. He just didn't make the short list for the game. And then obviously King Henry. I think this line went up overall. So over 82.5 rush yards. I think that line got up to 87. I'm comfortable taking the alternate line at 100 because the Ravens. They're going to run the ball a ton. I could take the alternate up to 100, but to be safe, take the 82, 85. I think it got up to 87 on some books, but just double check your books and find out what's going on. I got this line in a little earlier because I knew this line would potentially go up. And if we know this over under is going to go higher, then I expect it to go. I think I'm going to take the over in this game as well because just in terms of how we've seen the Commanders be in games where they've put up points and points and points. The Ravens, can someone do the same thing? They just do it a little bit more differently. But I expect this game to go over. I know it's 51.5 over under. But I expect this game to come down to, maybe the Ravens, they'll eventually get a little bit, they'll run the ball initially in this game, and then they'll start airing it out just like the Commanders will. So this could be a game where a ton of points are scored. So I definitely like the over. I like the Commanders plus 6.5. Because Baltimore has shown us countless times already. The Bengals game last week, a couple of weeks ago against Cowboys, they just don't shut the door on a team. So they just don't do it for whatever reason. Like, you have the ground game to do so. And in fact, they let the lead go against the Bengals down 10 in the fourth quarter. So it's like, and as much as their Commanders are playing well, what I'm saying? Like, can they win this game? I think they have an opportunity to do so. I just think the Ravens probably just do enough once again to win the game. But would it shock me if Commanders won this game? No, they're playing very hot football. Daniels is looking like a historical rookie QB. There's no rookie QB that's had over 1,000 pass yards and over 250 rush yards ever to start the season, the first 5 games. Daniels is looking amazing. And did anyone suspect it? No. But I'd expected that he would look better than Caleb Williams so far. Absolutely. We'll see if that trend continues. Got a question. We'll go back to monies right now. So Tank Dell, Pickens, or Waddle in a full point PPR. Boy. I'm going to go Wandell. Yeah, I'm going to go Wandell. Oh, it sucks. I'm going to go Wandell because I think Slayton's game was.
Oh, all right. Looks like we had a little bit of a.
And I'm back.
All right.
What was I say? So going back to last week with the Giants in Seattle, cooking them on the road, crazy. Wando didn't have as much of a heavily targeted game. I expect this week to be a little different. I know Slayton kind of came out and did his thing. I think it's Wandell's week this week though. Playing at home against Cincinnati, where this is a big test for the Giants, I would say, to prove that they're playing competent football enough to be a team that in Cincinnati who is going to come in very hungry for a win because they're 1-4. But I like Wandell in this spot. I mean, I could go Tank here as well. I could go Pickens, but man, they're both Tank Dell and Pickens are playing in very slow environments this week. The over-unders aren't that great. Like I said about Houston, we could see Houston. I mean, they probably could just do their thing on the road, but man, this feels a little trappy for Houston, and we'll get to that. But Pickens, I mean, look, man, last week should have been Pickens' game, and Fields and him were not connecting for like the first time I feel this season. Do they get right against the Raiders? It's possible. I would just rather go with the safer option if I'm starting season long, get Wandell for all these potential targets and, full point PPR especially. But what do you say, Johnny, to the question?
George Pickens.
I figured.
Think this, yeah.
You homer. You damn homer.
I think, man, this is just like, this is a place where this is a classic George Pickens situation, man. Like, a lot of people talking noise.
We've been talking noise about your Pickens all season. He's only given us one game over 100 receiving yards. Like, bro, come on.
Okay, yeah, he's given us one game over receiving yards. But again, man, like, do I have to? We're 24 minutes in, and I'm going to have to use the word, and I don't want to use it right now. I don't want to use it. Yeah. Patience, time.
I mean, people can't, listen.
Yo, man, like, well, here's the deal, dude. Like, the Raiders are in a shitty situation, man.
Sure
and Tank Dell is going to get the Christian Gonzalez treatment more likely than not. And Wandell, like, for me, I'm leaning more towards Wandell or George Pickens. Like, you asked me who my preference is. George Pickens would be my preference. I think Wandell has the game environment, to your point, is definitely going to be better because more likely than not, the Giants should be playing from behind. But again, if Tyrone Tracy in that run game gets going, again, said it again, I'll say it before. Best way to keep Joey B and the boys off the field. Run the football, slow the game, slow the pace of the game down. They don't have the opportunity to get on the field. I think it's just the exact opposite when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers today. I think they want to be able to get up quick. And in order to get up quick, you got to get points. And if you're able to get up quick, they can then do what they need to do on the defensive side of the ball. And even, man, like if you believe the Raiders have a chance today, man, they know Connell getting the start. If you believe they have a chance, then this is another place for George Pickens, to see some targets and get involved. So those are my two, man, Pickens or Wandell, man.
Makes sense. Music's got another question. 8-man league. You're basically asking full point PPR, Montgomery or Cook. That's tough. I mean, Cook going against the Jets, Montgomery going against Dallas.
Monty.
I was thinking Monty as well.
Yeah.
The over under, we should be seeing a very high pace game, and I think Montgomery has a better chance to scoring a touchdown. I think James Cook does as well, but I think the Jets defense and the over under, and then the pace of the game can go a little bit more slower in terms of versus Detroit and Dallas. I hate saying sick James Cook, but I am saying it here because I think Montgomery is going to have a chance to have 2 touchdowns in the game and have himself a decent game in this one.
Yeah.
Next question we got Dylan. Dylan says need help. Help! I'll grab it. Help! full point PPR. Pick 2 in the flex. Pierce at Tennessee, Wicks at Arizona, Demario Douglas versus Houston, Bateman versus Washington. Jesus. I sort of lean Wicks and Bateman simply because I trust their quarterbacks more and they should be higher scorers.
Smart man.
Man, I don't know.
Bateman, it just goes back to what you were talking about, like in the Baltimore game, like how you feel like it's going to go over. And that was one of the pieces I was going to say. It's like, yeah, like that game very well could go over, but if it goes over, we don't know who to stack up other than the guys to have, other than Derrick Henry, Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson. Like those are the pieces, right? So I do feel like Bateman, that's not a terrible play. If you feel like this game is if you feel like it's gonna be a higher scoring game, and then Dontavian Wicks. How many times have we seen this? How many times have we seen this song get danced? Waiver wire wonder of the week. Don't do jack shit. Next week later,
does their thing.
So I'm all right with that, man.
I know. Yeah, I mean, look, if Richardson wasn't starting, I would have said Pierce over Bateman. Man, it sucks. I don't like saying Bateman though. Something about it just makes my skin crawl. I'm in agreement with Wicks though. Man, what's Alec Pierce's price on DraftKings? Just in case I want to play him today.
Probably like
5,400 today.
Probably 46 or something like that. That's it.
And he doesn't get a lot of volume. Like, man, oh man. And then DeMario versus Houston. Like, do I trust Drake May right now? Like, no. Yeah, I'll just go with Wicks. I'll go Wicks and Bateman because you're just preying on the Pierce long bomb touchdown. And if you don't get it, he bottoms out. So that's where I'm at. I mean, I don't.
There's that and Pittman playing, but not really playing with his back injury, so he's just occupying space out there. So Pierce might not even. Who knows if I don't want to say if he gets on the field, but his snap share is probably going to be cut. He'll get on the field, but his snap share is going to be cut from what it actually should be because Pittman's going to be out there trying to give his best, Willis Reed impression out there today.
Yeah, Pittman not going on the freaking IR is a little bit crazy. He went from potentially going on the IR to then all of a sudden going questionable and now playing today. I don't know. Downs is also questionable today. If both of these guys were out, I would have said Pierce, but going Wicks, and then if you're twisting my arm on this one, but I'm going Bateman because of the higher scoring environment. And I would say because you trust the QBs a little bit more. It's just a bad spot to be trusting. Like it's a good everything logically says Bateman, you know what I'm saying, but it's still Bateman at the end of the day. Music says basically starting Kamara and Detroit running backs. Yep, makes sense. Kamara should be getting a lot of volume this week. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They should try to make the playbook so easier for Spencer this week. So he should be getting Kamara should probably have one of those classic check down games where he gets like 8-9 catches potentially. And it could just be like a Kamara day. Adam, last question before we move on is Hurts or Fields? Going Jalen Hurts here because I think the Eagles, this is a prime bounce back for them. Like they're getting a lot of flack already. Because now the Phillies are done in the baseball playoffs. They're probably getting a ton of slack from their media in terms of like, yo, like now we got our weapons back, saying now Kellen Moore can operate, offensive coordinator better. Hurts getting a lot of slack because he's saying he's not a good quarterback. Like, I'm all over Hurts this week. I mean, I don't mind Fields. I think he could definitely do great things against the Raiders this week. I just think that the Hurts thing is not going to go away unless they come out here and obliterate Cleveland. I mean, the line right now is 8.5. And we'll get to that game, but I think that in terms of you drafted Hurts for a reason. He finally gets all his weapons back. I think you just have to start him and find out what happens.
Chapter 2, chapter 2, man, for the Eagles. Everything that Nick just said. All the pieces are there. All the pieces are there right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Cleveland Browns are struggling to find out who they are as a football team. I do love Jalen Hurts in this game. I think obviously the only potential downside to Jalen Hurts would be like if this game just gets out of control super quick. But other than that, man, you got to play Jalen Hurts. Even for a Steelers fan like myself, I'm going Jalen over Justin.
Definitely. Cardinals, Packers. Cardinals getting 5.5 on the road going to Green Bay. There's some rain tendencies going on, but not wind. So that's the good news. Packers coming in at 2-3, pretty much needing a win here, I would say, but Green Bay does as well at home. So over under 47.5. This could be the game of the week when it comes to DFS lineups in terms of getting a little bit away from leverage, a leverage play and getting away from the chalky field of Detroit, Dallas. But what do you say, Johnny, in terms of this game?
Rain's not scheduled to get there until about 3:00, so it'll be a little bit later on in the day. And then for me, this is one of my favorite places to get to, just because I think Jordan Love, now he's completely healthy. Don't want to say he's got all of his pieces because he doesn't have my boy Christian Watson there. But I think you've seen like what this team is and what they're about. And this Arizona Cardinal offense also has the ability to put some fight back, to kick back as well on the Green Bay Packers. So I'm in love with the over on this game right here. I'm in love with everything that's going on. I think
he's in love.
I'm in love with love.
I was saying. I thought you were gonna say what you think you're gonna say.
No, but like just from a DFS perspective, right? Jaden Reed, man, he has been a pleasant surprise for those people that drafted him. Obviously, he's crushing it. So I'm going to him today. I think like you can get wide receiver value in return on DraftKings. I think he's around 7,000. Romeo Doubs is back, probably with a chip on his shoulder, aka the squeaky wheel. So don't be surprised if you see him get hit with targets today. And then Kraft macaroni and cheese, baby. Kraft macaroni and cheese. Like this might
Dad
actually
joke 101.
Dad joke 101, baby. I know how I do. When we talk about tight ends, right? Like he might be the guy. Like he might actually be one of the guys for the year in this wasteland called tight end, where people drafted these guys, Kyle Pitts, Sam Laporta, Mark Andrews, the list goes on. But Kraft has been playing really good football for sure. The Cardinals also, they traditionally used to have a problem covering tight ends. Not so much now. It's actually the reverse. Actually, the Packers have a little bit of an issue with the tight end. So Trey McBride, I think, will actually be a really solid play this week. And then Marvin Harrison. I was reading some stuff earlier just about the Packers and how they play against outside wide receivers. They're actually one of the worst teams in the NFL against outside receivers. So, and then I know a lot of people are still, Jair Alexander, definitely a really good corner, but he's a little bit banged up in this game as well. So, the opportunity to take advantage of some plays out there on that side. And we've seen what Kyler Murray was able to do last week against the San Francisco 49ers. So that's just a really long-winded way of me saying that, like, I like a lot of pieces in this game, including both running backs, right? This is a game that, like, I'm in a 20 max entry and I'm trying to get pieces. I do have pieces of this game every which way, from the quarterback to the running back to the tight end to the wide receivers, and even the defenses as well. Because I do think the Green Bay Packer defense, they might even be able to get you a couple of sacks, maybe an interception for a touchdown. So this is the game I'm getting to with the most fantasy aggression, I should say.
Fair enough. I would agree on this, like in terms of how this game could definitely go. Like, the Cardinals just play so up and down. Though it's like one week you think they're really good, and then another week it's like, man, like come on. They just give you a letdown. Murray on the road last week, somewhat hopefully has just proven to most people enough to make sure that he's competent. Like, I didn't add in terms of like props and stuff like that, like 33 rush yards for Kyler should be a smash play. So I'm playing that for sure. 33 and a half rush yards for Murray. Like he literally proved to us one play he could do that against a pretty decent Niners team. He's outside. Pieced them out. So yeah, over 33 rushing yards. I'll also add that the 213 pass yards for him is definitely a lock for me as well. So putting both of those as well. Because look, I think the Cardinals are going to have to throw the ball in this one as well in order to keep this thing more closer. For the Green Bay side for props, I got Jacobs over 7.5 rush yards. Cardinals are a very average defense. Like Jacobs should definitely consistently get rolling against these Cardinals, and the Green Bay Packers are at home. Jayden Reed also as well. 63.5 is way too low. Way too low for what Jordan Love has done in terms of when Reed has been out there. Especially, anytime, Love even on 100% is still like getting Reed at a crazy amount. Last play, McBride over 47.5 receiving yards. These should all be smash plays just based on how the game environments should go. So I'm definitely liking all these plays for sure. You could throw in Tucker Graff as well. He like the Cardinals are pretty decent against tight ends overall. But because the line was like 40 and they allow like 45 receiving yards per game to tight ends. So the line was a little too close to my favor to take Kraft, but he definitely he has a rapport of love. Would it shock me that he did that? No. So right. But he just didn't make the list overall. So many plays sometimes. Anything else before we move on to the next game?
No, man. Make sure you get your players in this game from DFS. That's my take.
You like the Cardinals spread in this one?
I like the over. I like the over, and I like the Packers straight up on the money line. Okay. That's my take on it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm just not sure what Cardinals team I'm gonna get. So I like the over, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I probably with you on Green Bay as well if I had to pick someone, but man, I don't know what Cardinals team I'm gonna get. Am I gonna get the same Cardinals team that beat the Niners last week, or am I gonna get the same Cardinals team that for the last few weeks before that they couldn't even score 20 points? So I just, from a betting side of things, just give me the over. Colts, Titans. Colts are -2.5. Favorite on the road going into Tennessee. Tennessee coming off the bye. The over-run right now is 42.5. So pretty much similar to the Saints-Bucks game, division game, in terms of how the books see it. What do you say, Johnny, in terms of this game and how it can go?
The Colts are a get-right spot for everybody. They were a get-right spot for Justin Fields. They were a get-right spot for Trevor Lawrence.
You get your best game of the year. You get your best game of the year. You get best game of the year.
Bro, and so today is the day that Will Levis is able to keep his job for another week. I called it last week. And so, for me, I have a lot of Calvin Ridley, so I can't wait for him to actually just go off because everybody's been like, he had done nothing. He had done nothing. And we were ready to bury DeAndre Swift 2 weeks ago. And what do you know? He showed back up. Yeah, and I think
good.
And Calvin Ridley, this is the Calvin Ridley 135-yard, two touchdown game. This is it. And from a DFS side, there's not a lot of people that are getting to this game. And I also think too, like they're cheap. Like they're cheap. So you can stack this up or you can get pieces of this game here. I think Tony Pollard might be the most expensive piece in this game. I haven't looked at AR, but I think Tony Pollard's like 61 on DraftKings. And then D Hop as well. D Hop is at 51, I believe. So you can get some Titan players this week for a really cheap price, and I've run a cheap stack and get some action on this game. I definitely like the over here, and obviously, as far as from like a game, like a pick-em perspective, I will say give me the Titans at home. I'll take them. I'll take the Titans at home. The Colts, there's not really a lot. You got A.D. Mitchell. We obviously talked about Pittman and, his back situation or whatnot. But the Colts are they're like Baltimore negative almost because like it's the quarterback, and then there's all these other random pieces that like we don't know. So it makes it really difficult from a DFS perspective as far as like, all right, like who do we play? Who do we stack up? What do we do? But it's a little bit easier on the Titan side. So even if you wanted to get creative and start your stack, and I'm just throwing some stuff out there with AR and then with Calvin Ridley and D Hop, like as some run backs, AR naked, you could do something like that right there, and potentially it could bring back some Bucky naked. It could bring that back for you. So,
yeah, fair enough. I think what I like best about this game, I think this is a game where it has a little sneaky upside in it, where it's like, divisional matchups. But we've seen earlier with the Colts earlier on in the season with Houston, where you got a running mate in terms of how pace is going to go. Colts still top 5 in pace overall. Titans here, they're at home. Like you said, Will Levis has an opportunity to take reins back on the starting job after the bye. Look to see what they fix. I think Ridley is in a bounce back spot here as well. I think the Titans schedule just gets a little more easier as the season goes along. So I think it's where it's like, all right, like if we're for season long and stuff like that, I think this is a great time to still buy low on Ridley before like that blow up game comes. Pollard has been playing pretty stellar in games where they've pretty much been really competitive. So that's where I'm taking the over rusher receiving yards for him, 87.5.
I like that.
I think that's where whether you think the game is more sped up, which we think it is, or the game will be a little bit more closer, I think Pollard is the guy that still benefits the most here. I think Spears still gets involved, but it's not where it takes away too much from Pollard. I just think he's just proven enough to where he can do it from rushing and receiving, and that's where 87.5 is still a little too low for me based on what he's done in all games except for the game he only got 6 carries in Green Bay. So that was the only game that he didn't surpass this number. So I do like it in terms of Pollard getting that. You were gonna say something, Johnny?
No, man, I was just gonna say I agree with you. Everything with Tajay.
Oh, okay. All right. Next game. All right. So who do you got? It's Colts or Titans?
Give me the Titans, man. Give me the tighten up, man. Tighten up.
Give me the Colts to cover. This feels deja vu for Green Bay game, where they're favored on the road against Green Bay. I know the Titans have to win now, so I do have to take that into consideration. But honestly, Rich has to have a good performance today. Even if the Colts lose today, I think he has to have a good performance today in order to kind of slow down the Flacco noise, because I tell you what, if he doesn't have a good game against the Titans this week, dare I say he could get benched for Flacco at some point, because it's Flacco's looked
at some point, maybe.
I know.
Yeah, at some point.
Going a little ahead of myself a little bit.
A little
bit. But I would say, like, honestly, like, Anthony Richardson has to come out and just prove that naysayers wrong about how he does things, because it just doesn't look the best right now for Richardson at the moment. I know he has an injury and stuff like that. I'm not trying to take that away from him, but it's more about like, proving that you were supposed to be the top 5 guy a couple of years ago. It's like
smell fishy. Smell fishy.
Just a little bit. So it's the grip gets a little bit more tighter on him if they come out and lose this game.
For sure.
I'm saying the Colts, but the Titans win, of course they can, because division game. Going to a crap game. Crap game alert, folks. Houston Texans at New England. over under 38.5. It went up a point overnight. Texans minus 6.5 on the road. Johnny, this is a classic trap game.
No.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure.
You tell us why it's not.
Well, number one, the Houston Texans, they have everybody back minus Nico, which obviously is a big part of their offense. One of the best receivers in the NFL for sure. But then, you got Steph Diggs and you got Tank Dell, and you get Joe Mixon back today. So I feel really good about where they're at. You said it's a crap game. I think, if you're a Patriot fan and you live in New England like I do, a lot of Pats fans are excited about today. This is what they've been waiting on. They may not have necessarily loved the pick. Some people did, some people didn't. But when you're a fan of a team and you have less than subpar play at quarterback and you finally get a chance to see what the future looks like, it's a little bit exciting. I'm not saying I'm going to be watching the game, but I will tune in just to see how Drake May looks, under these circumstances. But I think this is a game that, no way the Texans should lose, or should there even be any sense of being scared about this game or a trap game or anything like that right there. The Patriots' best player, Ramondre Stevenson, isn't playing. So I just for me, this is a slam dunk. This is one of them LeBron over Jason Terry dunks right here for me, Texans over the Patriots, man. So,
man, something don't smell right in this game, man. Something just does not smell right for me. No Nico now on IR. Houston doesn't play their best football on the road. I know New England, they're starting rookie QB New England. I'm sure he might get shellacked.
You better not say it.
I'm taking New England's points. I just think this game smells a little too funny for me. I don't get me wrong, I think Stroud's a really good quarterback. I just think this thing just smells a little too fishy. When he's not at home. When he's at home, he at least has 2 games over 325 passing yards. And that first game in Chicago was 260. When he played them at home. On the road, 234 against Indianapolis. The line is 237. And we got just news about Joe Mixon playing, so that should help things. And then Minnesota, their defense kind of locked him down to 215. Where he locked down 2 interceptions. So something just smells weird about this game.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm just gonna throw this out there.
Yeah.
The Houston Texans have the best adjusted completion percentage in the NFL on the defensive side of the ball. And what that means is that accounts for drops, overthrows, all that other happy shit.
I'm with you. I'm just gonna take the
11:20 Eastern. This man's taking the Patriots, man. Somebody get that.
I just think New England's gonna come out and do something weird. Look, I could easily be just put egg on my face or whatever on this one, but just my guts just tell me this game is just it's gonna be a little weird.
You need some KO pectates if your gut's telling you that because you feel
shit. No, I'm not. Healthy guts, fine. Good on that note. I'm just taking New England's points here. I'm not gonna pick them to win the game. I'm gonna take the points. Dare I say the over in this game?
I could see the over. I could see the over, and like I would always say, I could see the over because I could see the Texans dropping 30.
Right, perfect. That'd be great. That'd be great. You know what I'm saying? I got Stephon Diggs in some teams, but yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. Something about this line just doesn't. Something about the situation, the air in this one just doesn't seem right. So I'm taking New England's points here. Call me crazy on Twitter, whatever, on the DMs, whatever. But I feel like New England can cover here for some weird reason. Browns, Eagles. This game, I'm pretty much sure we're in full alignment here.
You sure? You don't want to pull one on me? Make no money in the banks out here, man.
No. Okay. Because you already know how I feel about a certain quarterback playing in this game. I'm not talking about Jalen Hurts. I'm talking about Deshaun
I've been
Watson.
saying it all season. You were still loving Amari Cooper, and I'm like, no, man, like Deshaun Watson. He's
hold on. I thought Cooper could at least get some target volume here. I've always said Deshaun Watson. Never liked Deshaun
he's getting
Watson.
targeted.
Never liked Deshaun. Let's get that clear. Never liked Deshaun.
No, but listen, so if you like the receiver, you gotta like the quarterback.
No,
I mean, it's a package deal. It's a package deal. It's
never a package deal.
How is it not?
Never a package deal.
What are they gonna do? Run reverses to him?
Because look, Cooper is the wide receiver one that's gonna get targeted a lot. So even if some of those targets aren't, catchable, at least he's getting targeted. At least he's getting the volume and opportunity. I don't have to like Watson because this guy has not even done anything.
Oh, my friend, how the tables have turned when the turn of the tables.
What are you talking about? I've always hated Watson since.
I know you've hated. Listen, it's not. I'm not talking about Watson. I'm not talking about Watson. I'm talking about Cooper. I'm talking about Cooper. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, Cooper's been okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just you drafted him as potentially, what? When did you draft Cooper?
Never.
Oh, stop.
Never.
Oh, stop. Anyway,
yeah.
Eagles pretty much win this game, right?
Oh, yeah. Although, fun fact.
Have a chance to cover in this game.
Fun fact. I was just going to say that, actually. I think there was a stat I had seen or I'd heard earlier in the week that said every team that was the biggest favorite on the slate had covered so far this year. And I think this is the biggest.
That's a jinx.
Yeah,
I never heard of jinx before in my life. That was it.
That's what I'm here for, man. I'm here to jinx people. I'm here to tell people about how great like their players are before they, go out and fall out, man. Jordan Mason, like that's what it is. So,
jinx, bro.
But yeah, like I think definitely the Eagles win this game. I don't. There's no way for me that the Browns find points. The only way I think they find points is if Jameis Winston finds the field today, which, I think that's coming sooner than later for sure. I think that's more of a realistic thing, in my opinion, than Joe Flacco getting to Anthony Richardson first. I think this Flacco. Yeah, don't make me call him what I really call him. But I think that happens, man, because I think like, the Browns outside of the quarterback position, man, like the Browns, they're not bad with what they have on their roster. I'll say they slowed down Jaden Daniels last week. Obviously like they still got the win. The Commanders did, but yeah, man, this is Eagles all day long for me. Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, it's that time, man.
Makes sense. Yeah, man, like from a DFS side of things, prices are pretty perked up to where they need to be. I think leverage is easily Barkley here, 8,200. Excuse me. Like it's just 8,200 on DraftKings. Like, yeah, seems like a decent amount of salary for the top RB, but look, I think Barkley can go definitely nuclear in this spot.
Yes.
Against the Browns, the Browns defense has not been, as darling as it has been over the last 2 seasons. Like they're not playing the same way they used to. And I just don't really trust them here in this spot. Especially with Watson not doing many favors. Like this guy Watson has just been trash.
Oh, Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne just left with a
he's done for the
injury.
Game. Yeah, he's done for the game, right? Whatever. I'm done with him too. I'm glad I didn't draft him. Like I just can't with him. I can't with Jacksonville. They're a bunch of suckers. I'll be honest. They're just a bunch of suckers. It's Tank Bigsby season, really? Like, ugh.
I guess it is.
Whatever. Anyhow, Eagles win. Dare I say cover? Yeah, dare I say cover. Do I like the over? Absolutely like the over too.
I'll take the Eagles. I'll take the Eagles money line. I'll take the over, but I'm not messing with the spread based off of that stat. No,
man. Commanders whooped that trick, last week.
Whoop that trick.
Literally, though. Like they whooped that trick, Literally. Yeah. Oh, Flacco starting for this is gonna change some things. Flacco starting for the Colts. Flacco starting for the Colts.
Interesting.
Way. I was waiting for that news. Well, Flacco started for the Colts. Any instant reactions back to the Colts Titans game?
Shootout alert!
Shootout City.
Here we go.
I know. Wow. As he messes with his lineups over there.
well, hey man, I got Joe Flacco, man.
Y'all was trash.
Yeah,
Who
man.
did?
That's why I
Who
said
trashed
it's
you?
cool.
Who trashed you?
Y'all were all you at the front and center of the line. Oh, quarterbacks. Oh, man, picking a lot of Christian
Yeah, you pick
Watson
up a lot of
is
quarterbacks. You gotta leave one for me. Jesus Christ.
Christian Watson is
That's why I
active
made
today
fun of
as
you. You gotta
well.
leave one for me, bro. Dang.
Christian Watson is active today. So here we go.
Oh man, really?
Yeah, shit's getting crazy right now.
Yeah, sure is. As he's waiver wires.
Oh Lord, this is wild. This is
He
wild.
searched the waiver wires.
Oh man. Yeah, I think like now this game definitely has potential to go over. I'm very, very interested in man, I gotta get these DFS lineups cracking.
Yeah, that would be something. But I played him last week. So I played him last week, one of my lineups, and it was
where do you see that this Joe Flacco news has not hit my phone yet, bro?
Who said it? The Tom Pelissero said he's planning to start today.
Okay.
Underdog said it as well.
Okay. Well, you know, they don't let us on the underdogs up here. Man, this is wild.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, pretty wild, isn't it? But I definitely think the game could over now with Flacco at quarterback. In terms of like that goes, so definitely gotta take that as well. For 1 o'clock. But going on to the Chargers Broncos game, talk about a crap game for pace purposes. Gus Edwards on the IR. It is J.K. Dobbins season. In terms of I'm sure you picked up Vidal in a couple of leagues out there for people that probably are still out there. He's someone I would pick up as well. In terms of just something were to happen to Dobbins, he's slotted in there. Denver 3-2 as well. Chargers come off the bye week. They're in Denver. Over under 35.5. What do you say about this game, Johnny?
I'm going under. I'm going under on this game. Charge, remember too, man. Justin Herbert is a shell of himself right now, for sure, and he is. He's a shell of himself, man.
He is.
Yeah. I was just gonna make a wrestling reference and say that, at one point he was looking like a main eventer. Now he's looking like a U.S. champion or something like that, right there, mid card.
Yeah. But, all right, I can see that.
Yeah. And then obviously Quentin Johnson, he's a no play today because he draws Pat Surtain. So Lad McConkey, and the Charger.
Lad time.
And
traded for him in a couple leagues already. I'm pretty excited.
Oh boy, here we go.
Pretty excited about Lad McConkey.
Here we go.
Pretty excited about that.
Here we go. Out here, Dirty Dutch Mantel. Got mid card manager out here. Here we go.
That was a good reference.
Yeah. And then I think you got, obviously on the Broncos side, you got Javonte, and Cortland Sutton and somebody I was super high on who really hasn't quite delivered yet. Yeah, man, I like. I think this is definitely going to be a very, in your words, it's going to be a rock fight for sure, just because of the pace and the tempo. Defensively, what Denver has brought to the table, and I think Harbaugh, no matter how you feel about him, he always puts out a really good product out there on the field. So I could definitely see this absolutely being a 13-10 game. So 13-10, 17-13, something kind of like that right there. But definitely all in on the under. DFS perspective, give me a couple of these defenses and I'll ride out for sure. Straight up, I'm gonna say. Woo! Man, it's that this is a hard one, man, because it's like what you're gonna get with Denver's defense for sure, but also too what you're gonna get with Denver's offense. So it's like they're like a mini version of the Steelers for the last 2 years. I say give me the Broncos because they're at home. That's really the only reason why. I think that number is a little bit too high for the Chargers at 3. I would have, if it was 1.5, maybe I would entertain it. But I think this is an under, and give me the Broncos, man, to keep this thing rolling.
I'm gonna take the Chargers. Come out the bye. I like what Jim Harbaugh is doing with this team. Like he's really just sticking to the game plan of what he wants to do. I think Denver is a really good defensive team. But I think that Denver is going to find I just don't think they have the easiest pathway to score offensively. So I'm just gonna go with the Chargers. And I'm gonna take the points here. In terms of just taking the spread. I just think the Chargers are just a bit more talented team. They gotta just showcase it. And I just think they can get at Bo Nix enough in this game to make sure that the Chargers come away with the victory here. Boo. Well, you got anything else to say about this game before we move on?
No, man, I'm just out here just trying to get all my Joe Floccos, get all of my Anthony Richardsons out and all my Joe Floccos in, man. What a fucking nightmare.
Oh, what a epic nightmare, he said.
Yeah, what a nightmare.
Oh, man, yo.
Yeah, I know.
The next game we have is your boys, Steelers and the Raiders. -3 for the Steelers right now. Going into Las Vegas, 36.5 over under. What do you say about your boy Fields and the Steelers here?
I feel like this is absolutely a game that they should 1,000,000% win. I don't think this is anything. They've lost 2 in a row now. So I think this is definitely a get right spot for them. Had a chance to break down this game with a couple of gentlemen on a pod last week, actually.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, and just talking about it. The Raiders fans are not very optimistic about their defense at this point, which makes me very happy because offensively, I'm not very happy with where we're at. So I think this is a classic battle of shit versus stink on the offensive side. I really hope to God that they do not turn to Russell Wilson at any point in time in this game. And like I said earlier, like for me, I look at George Pickens. I think this is a great place for him. Run game has been very, very mediocre at best. And also, too, if you have the opportunity to pick up Jaylen Warren, I know there's been some people that had dropped him in leagues just from like a roster side of things that like maybe they already have somebody on their IR or whatever the case may be. I think that's probably going to be one of the bigger differences in this game right here. Najee is who he is. He's always been what he's been, and he's always been 4 yards in a cloud of dust kind of guy. And every now and then he's popped off something more than 15 or 20. I think last year, I'm pretty sure last year he either led the league or was in the top 2 or 3 in explosive runs, which doesn't even sound right saying, but that was actually a real thing. So Jaylen Warren being back now, I think now kind of keeps him fresh. It gives him the ability to close games out and things like that. So I think it's just an added element and an added dynamic. Also, the rookie Roman Wilson, I believe, is active today for the first time. Steelers still got some issues on the outside with pass rushers. As Nick Herbig is down, Alex Highsmith is down. So that could be something just to kind of keep an eye out for. Is that right there? And then Jacoby Myers is doubtful. I don't think he's playing today, so they don't have their full weaponry, if you will, for the Las Vegas Raiders. So once again, in a classic Johnny Main fashion, that is a long-winded way of me telling you the Pittsburgh Steelers win today.
Oh man, that was funny.
That's what I do. That's what I do, man.
What I'm gonna say is that the Steelers obviously win this game. The Raiders, man, are just looking like a mess now under Antonio Pierce, and it doesn't help when you don't have Adams. Doesn't help. Crosby's not playing this game again, right?
Let me see here. I got everything up right here, man. I'll take a look for you real quick. See.
Either way, like I think he was questionable coming into the game.
Yeah, he's
but
no, actually yeah. No, he's probable. He's gonna play. It was an ankle.
He's gonna play. All right.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. I think in terms of how the Steelers they had a bad game against Dallas offensively. Now to go on the road against Vegas, like this is not the most ideal spot to get right. But look, Carolina got right a couple weeks ago in this spot in Vegas as well. So yeah, even though Max Crosby's going to play, offensive line for the Steelers, I know got banged up a little bit, but I think Justin Fields comes at this game with a little bit more of a different approach. Hopefully this time around, getting a little bit more aggressive with the playbook. Your boy Pickens gets a little bit more involved here. Like, I just think that the Steelers here have an opportunity to, right some wrongs from the previous week. Anything else before we move on?
No.
Okay. Falcons, Panthers. DJ Moore. into the medical tents.
With a cold outside, girl,
that's
who
tough,
are
man.
you?
Falcons getting 5.5 on the road going to Carolina. Over 46.5. Look, I'm not gonna go emotional because I definitely thought about just putting Bijan on a lot of different tickets this week, but I'm not. I'm not gonna say I don't have confidence in that, but man, like if this is not the Bijan Robinson week, when is it gonna happen? Is the real question. And another question here is, can is it still more the Mooney show over London here, over Pitts? Like, how is this looking offensively? I know it's a lot of, people are playing a lot of cash spots here for Atlanta here, DFS wise. But what are you saying overall to this game thus far between these two teams? They play at the 4:00 portion.
From a game perspective, obviously, like the Falcons are favored and should be favored. They looked really good, obviously, on Thursday night going against Tampa Bay. I think for me, you're right. Like there's always like to look at like the ownership of players, and like there's a lot of ownership at Bijan. There's a lot of ownership at Drake London and Darnell Mooney. Like can't be everybody. It can't be everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah, but like I think obviously like you have to play them all, right? Like you have to play Mooney, you have to play Pitts, you have to play all those guys. Who is it going to be? Statistically, it says it should be Bijan because the Panthers are so bad against the run. That's what it should be, statistically speaking. Should be him. So I don't think there's anything wrong with him being the player, or even like to your point, man, like having a couple of tickets with him on there anytime touchdowns or hitting his over. I don't know. Maybe the Panthers find themselves in a situation where they can put up a fight. I know we talked about Xavier Legette. I don't even know how we landed on him on Tuesday on our show. I think we're just talking about waiver wires, but obviously I think like this has the potential to sneakily have some points up. And if this game does get busy, then like you're going to want a lot of pieces from this game. And I'm playing Drake London because I do think Drake London season is upon us right now. I think same thing. We talk about Kyle Pitts, the frustration with people. So like for me, I'm more into the pass catchers for this game than I am Bijan. I do have him here and there, but I'm more into the pass catchers for the Falcons. Not so interested in the Panthers. I think I have a couple spots with maybe like a run back with Legette or Deontay or even Jadavion Sanders. I have a couple of those, man. But like I think this game goes over. I like the Falcons on the money line for sure. But like to pinpoint to say who it is specifically that you want to make sure you got hammered into your lineups, I think Bijan is probably the safest play. And here's another, that's not a hot take, but here's another thing for all the quarterbacks and the stacks and stuff. Why not Kirk Cousins? Like, and I know people are like, oh, well, he's not going to throw for 500 yards again. Well, no, I don't expect him to throw for 500 yards again. But like, if the guy goes out and throws for 300 yards and, he hits London, he hits Pitts, he hits Mooney, now all of a sudden now we're in business. You know what I mean? So I'm not opposed to playing Kirk Cousins in DFS and stacking them up with some of those Falcons pass catchers.
Understandable. For me, Deontay Johnson is someone that could easily be someone that is overlooked and someone that I've played before. And he's done really well. I think people are concerned about the ankle injury or whatever. He's always dealing with something. And he's come off a bad game where he only had 3 catches, 23 yards. But Chicago's defense is really good. Really good against slot receivers as well. So I like going back to that spot. I need 6,100 is a lot DFS wise, but Deontay is one of my locks of the slate right now. In a game environment where Carolina has to get a little bit right again at home. I think people are way too much on the Atlanta side right now, which is understandable.
So much.
I like them. Don't get me wrong. I like the pieces there. Definitely like Mooney as well for like he's 5,300. Yeah. I mean, I definitely like that. He's pretty much a cash lock for most people. Makes sense. So it's like I think there's still a little bit like the Falcons have been passing the ball at a 70% rate since the Eagles game. So it's like Can they finally get Bijan the ball, Robinson the ball? Like, I think so, and that's where I think I'll have to play Bijan as well, just to see what happens from a DFS side. Like, I'm sure he's probably like 18%, going on 20
Bijan
right now. Yeah,
almost 30.
That's the problem. I know, and that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? That's where
bro,
like, and that's where I kind of want to see if I can get a little different. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
like, can I get
Bijan 30, Drake 21, Chuba 20, Deontay 17, Mooney 13. Like, it's heavy.
That's where, like, sometimes, like, I don't mind riding the chalk, but man, it's rough because
that is rough, brother.
Because obviously, if it goes wrong in I like playing more GBPs. If it goes bad in that format, like, if it goes like, if everybody has them, then everybody has them. But man,
whew. One thing I'm gonna say, boy, Green Bay and Arizona looking better and better at the moment. Josh Downs is playing now. It's starting to roll in.
That's crazy. Keenan Allen scored 2 touchdowns today, and I sat him everywhere. Man,
it's funny actually. Yeah. My home league with like 5 bench spots. Somebody had dropped them, and I was like, couldn't even do it. Let me tell you, dude. There's like 5 freaking bench spots, man. Like, short story, real quick. Short story. It was like, yeah. Dude, last week, man, I didn't even play a defense. Didn't even play a defense, man, and won because I got so many like question marks like all over my team, like with injuries and stuff. And it seems like it's very easily trending that way again this week, man. So I love the short bench rosters, man. Nothing more that makes me happy. But anyways,
I know you can't keep everybody. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep everybody like too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people gotta win, whatever they gotta drop people.
Bro, it's rough. It's rough.
Makes sense. As far as from a game perspective, I'm just not touching this one. There's a lot of ways that can go Falcons' way, but I don't know. They could be coming off a game, they could come off a little bit too high of a high horse type of game, and it's like, and then divisional opponent, trap game, like just
all the money's on Kirk Cousins and his people. So of course, this is a spot where he wouldn't come through. So there you go.
I know. Caleb Williams having a day today, by the way, for the Bears. Like,
I picked him up actually as my starter.
Picked him up, yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, I picked him up in another league here where
that's wild.
Patrick Mahomes is my quarterback, and obviously he's on bye. So
and
so is Sam Darnold. That's my problem. It's like that's the problem I run into. I got like in a lot of these leagues, I have like Sam Darnold, Jordan Love, and Justin Fields all on one team. Or
guess what? I have to start RB2 today in draft night out. Guess what? I have to start the RB2 in draft night out today.
Who?
Just take a big guess.
Tyler Algier?
Even worse.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, yeah, even worse.
Jerome Ford? That's not worse.
Even worse. Jesus. That's not worse, but it's worse. It's bottom of the barrel type. We talked about him today.
Oh, God, I don't even know, man. My brain's moving 1,000 miles an hour.
Jordan McNichols. I got started. I know.
Whoa.
I know. HN on by, no Chandler, no Hunt. Like,
that's gross.
I know.
I'm here for it. I'm
sure you are.
That's what happens when you show up to a draft 15 minutes late and everybody's waiting on you. So draft gods.
That's not what happens. Oh, please.
I'm like, man, come on, man. Come on, bro.
Stop.
Come on. You're like, nah, man. Nah.
I'm never going to hear the end of this one.
Nah.
Never going to hear the end of that one. But it's okay. Now, if I win this week, definitely joke's on you. All right.
Nah, joke's not on me, man. I appreciate what you did to the champ, man. I appreciate that, man. Got me out there looking clean in a mug.
Don't worry. I'm right on your heels. Lions, Cowboys, game of the week. Over under 52.5. Lions favored by 3.5. This is a game where a lot of things can go explosive. Last year, week 16, this game for CD and Dak, they went absolutely nuclear. Montgomery was decent as well. Gibbs was. So there's a lot of pieces in this game that you could definitely go off of. But where are you seeing this in terms of how things can go right, things can go weird, whatever you call it?
I love the game environment. I love the game. I love the over. From a DFS side of things, everybody is so damn expensive. That's Jared Goff isn't. but like Amon-Ra is expensive. CD is expensive. I think Sam Laporta gets back on track today. Side note. But like for me, like the people that I'm playing in this game is I'm playing JMO for sure. Playing a little bit of Jalen Tolbert as well. But I like this game environment. I think Dak, this is just another situation for me with Dak where the game script is gonna say that he's probably gonna throw the ball 40 to 50 times today. Like the Lions are great against the run. The Cowboys can't run. So what do you got to do? You're going to have to throw it. I also love Jahmyr Gibbs and I love Monty as well. In this one, like that's why, like, they made our poster is because like I feel like this is a spot. I seen somebody in the chat earlier was like, yo, well, I'm starting both Lion running backs and Kamara. LOL. I'm like, bro, like that's probably going to be very lucrative for you. I'm not saying both guys are going to find the end zone, but it's kind of hard for both these guys not to hit double digits, especially in the PPR world in America. Montgomery is playing lights out, bro. Lights out. And Jahmyr Gibbs is literally the fastest player on the field, the most explosive player on the field every single week, man. And then there's also the dome factor with Jared Goff. So I think like points, like there will definitely be points all over the board, man. It's just that, like, man, these players are so damn expensive from a DFS side of things, man.
They are. So where do you decipher? Where are you planting your flag?
I'm planting my flag in the like I said, the Detroit run game in JMO. Just as far as like straight up on the wins-loss side of things, obviously got to go with the Lions, man. I think the Cowboys had to exert a lot of energy last week, to beat the Steelers in that 2:00 in the morning game. And interesting stat as well. Another one I heard that was really cool, I thought. So this is something for us to keep in mind for next week. Any team that has played the Detroit Lions the following week have gotten absolutely smoked. So, like, keep an eye on that for the Cowboys for next week. And a lot of that conversation was just about the physicality that the Lions play with in the run game and things like that right there, how they just get completely blown up. So kind of let's just keep that in our back pocket for next week with the Cowboys. I don't know who they got, but let's keep that in mind next week.
They're on a bye next week.
Oh, well, then the lucky freaking Cowboys. So even they can't mess that up. Jesus.
They can't even mess that up.
No.
I guess I'm playing my flag on CeeDee Lamb here. 8,600. He's the highest receiver price on DK, but for good reason. Because look, I think CD, it's the bounce back game here. Yeah. Like he did okay against Pittsburgh, but that was very low floor for Lamb here in a matchup where Dallas got to keep up offensively, and the only way they do it is through CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson. Rico Dowdle comes in a little bit, but they're not going to lean on that. Detroit, we know they get fried past defense funnel. So yeah, I'm liking CeeDee Lamb here as a lock for me as well. So give me Lamb, give me Deontay. Wow, Caleb Williams 5 touchdowns now.
Come here, tough guy. Ho!
Boy, never mind. They got called back.
Oh, that sucks.
They got called back.
That
man,
sucks.
Bruh. Whew, man.
Sucks to be going against that guy this week, man. Anybody that's got him, man, that's gotta suck. Whew.
Yeah, more classic DJ Moore getting tackled at the 1 yard line. Classic, just classic. Yeah, Jaguars stink.
I love this.
We knew it. We knew.
Well, Doug
8 catches, 93 yards for Ingram. No, like.
Hey, like I said, man. Like, hey, listen, the Indianapolis Colts are the team you want to play to keep your job. That's what it is.
Well, you can play
That's the team you want to play to keep your job. And guess who ain't gonna have a job here pretty soon? Doug Peterson ain't gonna have a job. Doug Peterson, if we can hear you, you can come on the show and hang out with us here next week. All right, man.
Hey, man, that's rough.
You
sure
are next. You are next.
Damn. All right, back to 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
I think back to 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's real.
Nope, DeAndre Swift.
Come on, bro. What are we doing?
DeAndre fucking Swift. All right.
That's Calvin Ridley this week, man. I'm telling you.
I guess so. Let's see. Sunday Night Football and then Monday Night Football. Bengals, Giants. Bengals get 3.5 on the road. As a 3.5 road favorites going to, New York Giants. The Meadowlands. 46.5. There's no Devin Singletary this week. Any other news besides that? None. Everybody else is healthy. Again, Bengals come in 3.5 on the road. Bengals probably need to win this game. This is desperation time for the Bengals after they let go of that lead against Baltimore. They got smacked by Washington a couple weeks ago. It just seems like this Bengals team, like, they can't get right against any team. And this is the ultimate get back spot. It should be for Cincinnati. But man, the Giants have been playing really good. You know, they won. They not only covered last week after the line went to 5.5 to 7 on the road going into Seattle. They won by 9 points. Now they get at home matchup. It's a Cincinnati Bengals team that's coming in a bit, wondering what the hell is going on. What I say about this game is that the Bengals are going to have to win this game. I think they're too talented to let this one squeak by as well. I know the Giants are playing really good football. Burrow has looked spectacular, obviously. 5 touchdowns last week. I don't think 5 touchdowns are going to continue.
No.
I do like this over. It's a bit higher for a later in the day matchup. But in order for the Giants to have any type of opportunity to win this game, they got to keep up with the Bengals. And I think the Bengals defense, man, like, they've been really suspect all year long. But give me the Bengals and the points. What do you say, Johnny? I know there's a FanDuel thing too, so this game's on FanDuel.
I'm Ron Burgundy. And
yeah, what?
Weather.
No, but I know what you mean. What? Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron Burgundy. It looks like there's going to be some rain that's going to come in a little bit later on, around 9 or 10 o'clock, along with some winds, 10 to 18, and then picking up.
Got my kicker now.
Up to around 20 miles per hour for wind. So that might be something to take into consideration here. So that might be an under situation. But I mean, both of these teams are used to playing in outdoor weather as well, man. I mean, playing in Ohio and New York, New Jersey, whatever. The weather gets kind of crappy. But yeah, like I agree with you, man. I think just the Bengals, I think like this is just a place where like they can't lose. If you look at like their losses, obviously the early loss to the Patriots, we'll scrap that week 1, anything can happen. Then who's it? Kansas City, Baltimore, and I don't even know who their other loss was to. The Commanders. Realistically, man, like you're talking about, like the losses that they've had so far this year at this point are to playoff contender like teams. The Giants have been playing tough for sure. You called the Seahawks frauds a few weeks ago. They're paper champs. They're phonies. I think we've seen that again on Thursday night with San Francisco, who, like San Francisco, they're a solid football team, but they're definitely not peak San Francisco, and we've seen that. So I think the Bengals definitely take this one here to tonight on Sunday Night Football. And I think, over the next month or so, I really feel like the Cincinnati Bengals get back on track and start to get things together and start to become who we thought they were. But if they lose tonight on a random whim, if they lose tonight, the Browns lose. It's the Steelers and the Ravens, man, inside of this division is like that gap gets pretty big for them to get back into this race, man. So I think this is absolutely a place where they've got to win. There's no way around it. Like they have to win tonight. So, but I do expect the inclement weather to play a role. So I don't think there'll be as many points as this line is suggesting right here.
That makes sense. The weather, but some things have been crazier than others. I'll tell you that much. Like,
tell me about
football.
Tell me about it.
It's football. Monday Night Football. Buffalo Bills getting 2 and another MetLife game for the New York Jets.
Oh boy. Oh man.
This is for the division right now. Bills coming in 3-2, Jets coming in 2-3. After all the turmoil from the past week for the Jets, Robert Saleh gone. Nathaniel Hackett demoted, not fired, demoted. He's just hanging out now. He's just hanging out, being Aaron Rodgers, friend basically now on the sidelines. It's like Randall
Good
Cobb was
gig.
getting paid before. It's
Good
a thing
gig.
with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, good gig.
You get right with him. You don't have to do much for your job anymore.
Get paid,
Get paid. Yeah, look, this is an interesting game because we got to find out injury reports about just paying attention to this if Shakur's playing. If James Cooks looks to be good to go in terms of his turf toe injury. For the Jets side of things, Aaron Rodgers is good to go. Where I say about my boys in this matchup, they got to win this game. After all this shit that's happened this past week, they got to win this game at home, taking on the Bills, taking on Josh Allen. Don't even know if Josh Allen's 100% healthy right now. Like,
he's not.
This is the game where you got to take advantage of that and take advantage of all the things that you're looking to change up. Things that need to happen. Talked about it more on the TBQ sports show. You guys aren't familiar with that. But look, the Jets, they have to get the run game going. They have to get Breece Hall going. Like, it's crazy that Breece Hall has averaged 5. He's averaged about 5 fantasy points the last couple of weeks.
That's actually what it's been. No,
it's crazy. There has to be the get right game for him against a Buffalo Bills defense that has leaked against rush yards. This is the game you got to perform. In terms of the line, I'm gonna take the Jets. I'm gonna take them to win the money line. Got to win this game. If you don't win this game, there's a lot more changes. There's a lot more changes to come, though. Yeah, don't come home, right? And there's a lot more changes to come in this matchup. And I'm gonna take the over as well. I think Buffalo still has enough to get this thing over. I think the Jets, they're gonna have to. Again, this is a must-win game for them. If they don't win this game, like I said, it's gonna be a long road to trek back, especially with the AFC looking a little bit more shakier than it has the last couple of seasons. What do you say overall, Johnny, this matchup?
I think you're probably going to get the Jets' best performance, honestly. Like I've said it before, like a lot of times when these type of changes happen, emotionally, you get a different version of these football teams. And I think that's what I expect from the Jets. Is I expect to get emotionally to have a different football team out there. They're 2-3. For sure. The Bills are 3-2. But let's take a look at who they've beaten in both sides of the coin, right? I think the Jets, it's tough because obviously, Josh Allen is probably the best player amongst everyone on the game here. But the Jets have a better roster. And for them to be in the state that they're in right now is definitely disappointing. And so I just think I think it's a place where you got to get back to to what got you here. You got to dance with who bought you, man. And Breece Hall he's the heartbeat of this team right now. He absolutely is what is going to make the Jets go. So I expect and I suspect to see a lot more of that. And maybe this move it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what this move was. It's going to be interesting to see if this was to put everything on an even keel for the Jets, or essentially to give Aaron Rodgers more of a say, which I think obviously with the Hackett deal and him, being demoted, I think, you can kind of see the writing on the wall. So I'll be interested to see how this plays out, man. But I do like the Jets in this game here, and I'll probably take the under because, oh my God, dude, the Bills last week, that was so bad. That was so bad. So bad. So bad, bro. I'm sitting there watching that and I'm going, oh my God.
And the funny thing is, even Keon Coleman's touchdown shouldn't have counted.
Oh my God.
Did you see that highlight? Yeah. The 54-yard score on 4th down?
Bro. Oh yeah. No, I was happy because I was happy. I ran a stack with Allen and Keon Coleman in a single entry, man, and I was all right, cool.
He stepped out the 7-yard line.
But dude, they just you're expecting so much more from them in a game like that because everybody's like, oh man, this could be a possible playoff preview, and it's just, it was so bad.
Definitely, man. It's so bad. To the questions, TS says Mixon or Connor PPR. I'm gonna say James Conner. Unfortunately, I don't know what Mixon's gonna look like coming out. And Damian Pierce is also healthy. They'll still have probably Cam Akers out there, so we have no idea what the running back situation is going to look like, and if Mixon's totally healthy. But I was taking James Conner. Unfortunately, I don't like saying James Conner a lot on the show.
Ah!
But I'll say James Conner for the environment. I think he is going to get the full workload here. Rushing prop right now is 71.5 rushing yards. It's unofficial, but I would probably take that. But I think James Conner is the overall all-around workhorse for Arizona. And Mixon, we could easily see Dario Gumawale. We could see a lot of different guys in Mixon. In Houston in this game. What do you say,
Hey,
Johnny?
man. Hey, you got a top 12 running back playing James Conner.
There you have it. Kyle's asking full point PPR, Coleman or Shakir or Dobbs if he plays. Or sorry, Shakir if he plays or Dobbs.
I
know what my answer is.
like Dobbs, man. I like Dobbs. I think.
Oh, why? Why?
Well, I told you that's my game. That's my game.
Watson's back healthy too. I'm surprised you're saying this.
Yeah, well, one of the things that's very, very funny about that situation, man, is well, it will be funny to see. I should say, should be the snap count for everybody because Dobbs typically plays more than everybody. He typically plays more than everybody else, and then then obviously here with Keon Coleman and Khalif Shakir, like if Shakir doesn't play, then more likely than not, Keon Coleman gets the Sauce Gardner matchup, and if not, then all right, like then he's got another problem on his hands here with this, and like I don't know, like what I don't want to be the weather guy, but like I don't know what it's going to look like here up north on Monday as well. It's supposed to be rainy and windy and stuff here like over the next couple, man. But I like for me, like I'm playing Romeo Dobbs a lot in my DFS lineups. Yeah, man. I don't know what you think, man.
It's dicey because look, like like you said, it Coleman would probably get the Gardner matchup. If Shakir, my answer is Shakir, because he is the one receiver in Buffalo that's going to be
Josh
moving
Allen's
these guys enough in the matchup.
Yeah.
Last time I heard, Shakir was definitely questionable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if that changed at all. Really quick.
It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed.
We probably won't get that news till later, like early tomorrow. Like you're hoping at least. So it's like obviously, I don't know about Dobbs, man. I just don't know.
He was a light participant. He was a light participant on Saturdays. So at least he was actually on the field. So there's optimism, but like to the point, like they don't do. But like here's the other thing though too. Because that game is a 1.
That's really tough.
That's
I don't want to be in that situation, honestly. No. I'm hoping for a guy to come and play, and he's one of the best guys on the team. Man, I don't know. I mean, if you have to start someone, it'd be Dobbs. But I'm not liking that decision for you because you're getting you're getting floor and you're not getting much ceiling. And then it's like if you don't, and then Shakir doesn't play, then you're forced to start Coleman. So it's like that's a crappy situation. I'll be honest. Yeah. If you want, I always say this: if you go safe, go Romeo. If you want ceiling, I think go Shakir. But that's where I stand.
Yeah.
And then lastly, music. I must have missed him, but he was saying, does Hunter Henry have a chance to go off today? Having a bunch of catches with Drake May at quarterback. I think that's modest. I think that's a good DFS play too. 3,800 on DraftKings. I think that's a good play as well. In terms of that, how in terms of how Hunter Henry can be useful, but that makes sense. Let's see. So what we got left for you guys is we got locks of the slate. So I already said a couple of mine. Mine would be CeeDee Lamb, Deontay Johnson. CeeDee Lamb just, this is the time where you're hoping that, ownership's like pretty mid, like 15%, 16% last time I checked. Deontay Johnson was still pretty high. But you're hoping that both of these guys that I'm saying as locks of the slate, they not only get the volume, but they also get a touchdown or two in games where they got to keep up. Both these offenses are going to have to keep up. I think for running back, I think I would love to go Barkley, just to get away from all the chalk area stuff. But honestly, I wouldn't hate going Pollard. I wouldn't hate going Dobbins. Because Dobbins, again, he's shown that he's had that upside before at 6,200. Najee at 58, dare I say. He just hasn't scored a touchdown yet, and regression is supposed to come his way. But obviously, cash
running back back, man.
Cash games, you're obviously going chalk with Bijan and Bucky and stuff like that. So I think my process and advice is more geared towards tournaments this week. But what do you say, Johnny, in terms of like locks of slate, in terms of last minute advice? What do you say?
Like I said, man, like for me, with the news of Christian Watson coming back, man, this makes me love Jordan Love even that much more. I'm gonna try to find a way to get Jordan Love into. I mean, not Jordan Love, but Christian Watson into a couple of my lineups. I love the Green Bay Arizona game. As far as one that can absolutely shoot out. Some more advice, man. Like I said earlier, all this massive ownership towards the Carolina and Atlanta game. One would say it can't be everybody. However, we have seen situations like that, but that is a lot of ownership going to one game. So just be mindful of it's a lot of ownership going to one game. So just be mindful of that as you play that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a piece or two. Then the other element is now Joe Flacco, now in Flacco, now in for the Indianapolis Colts. And with that being said, now all of a sudden, now this game really looks like it has shootout potential. Now, Calvin Ridley is definitely my lock of the slate, man. 5,700 in a game environment that I feel like it's going to go well over. So there's that. At the running back position for me, the Bucky Irving chalk. I'm going to ride the Bucky Irving chalk this week I mean, like it's kind of hard to get away from him in this situation. But that's really those are my places, man, that like I'm pretty locked in on. And then at tight end, Cade Otton is a play, man. He's another guy that's going to see a lot of my lineups just because he's a cheap play. And I do kind of want to get some exposure to that New Orleans Tampa Bay game just on the off chance it does happen to blow up. Or even just, obviously tight end's a wasteland anyway. But those are my takes. Those are my locks, if you will, for the slate, man. Green Bay, Arizona, I think is going to make some people some money, and I feel the same way about Tennessee and Indy, that game.
Okay. All right. So going to the Knicks prop shop, looking pretty average this year so far.
Basic.
Yeah, very basic.
Not
proud of it right now, honestly.
That's all
right. I want to get people some big time tickets, big time money. So 27-24 in a year. We're looking definitely to improve on that today. So definitely stay tuned because here are the following props. There's a couple here that I might not have said it when we're going game by game. So just definitely review as it goes. We got Trey McBride over 47.5 receiving yards. I think that line got up to 50 as well. So double check, but I still like the line anyway. I got Jane Daniels over 224 passing yards. I have Tony Pollard over 87.5 receiving and rush yards. Tyrone Tracy tonight, 54.5 rush yards, as we talk about that game being a little bit more weather-like, potentially because of rain. Still like that. Obviously, no Devin Singletary. Earl Gray fumbled the ball last week. So I think Tyrone Tracy could definitely hit this line pretty easily.
Yes.
Chris Olave, 49.5. I think that line got up to 50, 51.5, something like that. I'll still take it. I think Spencer came out, talked about saying, hey, like he wants to get Chris Olave the ball a lot when he's on the field. So I think that's something definitely to take watch on. Got Kyler Murray over 33.5 rush yards. We've seen him hit this line before, 4 times before. He's only missed it 1 time this season. I got David Montgomery over 55.5 rush yards. We talk about Detroit still run the football, and now they're gonna do a David Montgomery. Gibbs is gonna find his way in there as well. So it's obviously a thunder and lightning situation to keep mindful. But I think Monty hits this easily. Potential to have an anytime touchdown or 2. Zay Flowers over 54.5 receiving yards. We're expecting this game. Both teams for Washington and Baltimore bottom 10 in yards allowed through the air. I think Flowers has an opportunity to smash this line pretty easily. And we know that, Baltimore is pretty weird when it comes to targeting, their tight ends or receivers or whatever. So I think Flowers has an opportunity to surpass this pretty easily in a matchup where if Washington gets up pretty early, Baltimore will have to throw the ball a little bit more. So I think Flowers is a good bet to hit this over for the 54.5. Jaden Reed, 63.5 receiving yards. Talked about this one earlier. Just a little too high. I mean, still a little too low for me. This line should easily be like in the 70s, as it was previously last week against the Rams. So I definitely like the over on this for sure. I like the over 67.5 rush yards for Josh Jacobs. Like this should be an environment where if Arizona is going to keep up, I think Green Bay is going to run the ball as well and keep Josh Jacobs still on schedule. Brock Bowers, line too low. I think it got up to like 52.5 at some points. But took this at 49.5, 50 receiving yards. Like Las Vegas doesn't have anyone else really. Jacoby Myers maybe gets the ball a little bit. Maybe Madison gets some check down stuff.
I don't think Jacoby's playing today, man. He's doubtful. Like, yeah. So
really,
yeah.
Really,
yes, sir.
What was he dealing with? I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, that one came in. I think
he's doubtful. I didn't even know he was dealing with an injury.
That one slid in yesterday evening, I believe.
Yeah, dealing with an ankle injury. I'm surprised. He was out there last week, doing pretty well.
Yeah, that was even better, man.
I hope everyone's getting that because he was a smash play in the first quarter on one play last week. I was to the roof on that one. King Henry, 82.5 rush yards. I'm sure this line got up a little bit more higher as we spoke. So probably got up to 85. I would probably still take that anyway. And then two more, Laporta over 42.5 receiving yards, not 41,000. Not 41,000. I just think in a matchup where Detroit will have to keep up, I think they'll not only run the ball, but they'll have to get the ball in short area positions with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta. I think Jameson will be that guy that gets the deep threat, but I think Laporta should be, in realms to easily hit this. I would take this up to easily 50-something yards. So for those sickos making alternative props and stuff like that, I would still take this as well. And then Kyler Murray over 213 pass yards. Like that line's too low for a caliber quarterback like Kyler. Especially if we think Arizona could definitely continue to keep up in this game when it comes from an over-under perspective. That line is way too low for a starting NFL quarterback in Kyler Murray. So, y'all got the tags. Y'all came onto the show. Please like, subscribe to the channel. We love and appreciate y'all. If you guys have DM questions still as well, feel free to hit us up before lock time. Obviously, we'll be a little bit more busier, but we'll look to get to you guys as best you can. And that being said, Johnny, got any final thoughts for the people out there, the great people of all the nations?
No, man. Week 6, season's flying by. Hopefully this week is a very profitable one for everybody. Feeling really good about Nick's prop shop today, and I feel pretty good about where I'm at in the DFS space. So good luck to everybody out there, man. And thank you guys for all tuning in and giving us a go.
Couldn't have said any better myself. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. That is the next time that we are jumping on here. The Tuesday waiver wire trade advice segment, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. That being said, we're going to talk about waiver wire. We're going to talk about trade advice. We're going to talk about everything that's happened this past week. And look to guide you guys to, if you guys are slumping still and need to wake up before you guys get last place, that'd be a great spot. That'd be a great channel and show to tune into. If you guys are trying to stay at the top of the mountain, great show to tune into as well. So that being said, we'll see you guys on the next show. Peace.